excited to be here. We are actually sitting in Light in the Wilderness Church. There's a really cool story that I want to share on Testimony Tuesday with how we are highlighting Matthew 18:20, as well as what Amadeo Dispatched is doing here. So I want to start out. A lot of you that are watching are very familiar with TNT Ignite, which is where a lot of our meat and potatoes comes from Amadeo Dispatched. And you're probably wondering, well, how did this all get started? Because a lot of people didn't know until the commercial come out about 2 months ago that this was even a thing. So several years ago, so friends of mine and I were really needing some spiritual food. We were needing just a place for us to be able to be with each other and just be honest. And the most bizarre thing is that we were like states apart. I was in Arkansas, one was in Pennsylvania, and there were a couple that were in Connecticut. And online was where we found each other, and that's where we just really connected spiritually and just with friendship, just kindred spirits. And so the idea of a podcast came out of that. And God really just spoke to me at that point in time and said, it's not time yet. That's not what I'm seeing with what we called at that point in time, the Thirsty Soul Project. So fast forward to semi-present, back last year, 2023. We started, Brett and I, my husband, most of you know, he and I started at Light in the Wilderness it's been about 10 months now. And we knew from the time that we heard Pastor Stan preach that morning that we were supposed to be here. And so out of that, we began to grow. And one Sunday morning, I answered the altar call and was standing up in the front, and I was praying to God. And I'm like, you know what? I wasn't even there for like the pastor to pray. Stan and Deanna and the altar team are really good about praying with people. And I just kind of stepped back. I sat down on the front row and just had my head down and was praying. And Pastor Stan tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Come here." And he took me by both hands and he prayed and he looked me dead in the face and he said, "No matter what it is," he said, "just do it." He said, "You know what God's telling you to do, just do it." And I looked at him and I said, "You don't know what you're asking." and he said, "It doesn't matter my feelings." He said, "You need to listen to where God's leading you." So out of that, I went home and cried a bunch. And, I felt this, I don't want to do it. And Brett was really good about, well, if this is something that you've talked about before, and now you're getting confirmation from your team that's behind you with this. And so I went back and I talked to Pastor Stan later on and Deanna both and said, "This is what I'm feeling convicted of." And so they were very open and said, "We want to be able to help you in whatever means that looks like." We're open to the idea. So we did, Brett and I, they said record one episode, and in Tasia fashion, I had to overdo it and actually did 4 episodes of the Upside Down Kingdom Theory. And so I sent them the first episode and they said, "We love it. We want more. We want to see more." And I said, "Well, actually, here are 3 more episodes." And so it was really funny. I always tell people when they watch the episodes, you can see the conversion of, Amy Farrah Fowler and Sheldon Cooper of Welcome to Fun with Flags, where we were so nervous and so stiff-backed. And by that 4th episode, we were just laughing and just having a really good time with Christ. So Pastor Stan told me, he said, before you get started, he said, have a notebook, start in your prayer time talking with God. God will back it up with scripture if this is something that he really wants. And so the scripture that God gave was Isaiah 43:19, which is, "For I'm about to do something new. See, I've already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness, and I will create rivers in the dry wasteland." And the most I just, the way God works, the most bizarre thing was that at the same time that Stan and Deanna was meeting with the gentleman that came from Paraguay and was talking about his about why he was here, Stan and Deanna also received the same verse word for word as what God had given me. So it has all come around together in a big circle of what God is doing. And so, yeah, after we got the approval of Light in the Wilderness and what my vision was, and they have been great. Stan and Deanna have been great about answering questions, about being guests on the show, which is super fun. These girls can tell you, I think they're getting a little bit more relaxed now.
A lot of the videos that they do, they have their TNT Ignite pre-wraps, and we've shared those on there. That's actually a lot of, good knowledge, good, good meals, good meat and potatoes,
So the way that Stan and Deanna, their vision is with TNT Ignite, or just Ignite in general, is that they are training Christians to be able to go out and to spread the love of Christ and to be able to spread Jesus's word. And it's really neat to see where they feel like they're being a hub, and we are seeing it personally, because these girls approached me last week about, let's get together and let's talk about this. And we also know of another individual that's at Shiloh Church that has felt a conviction also. So God is standing in his promises. He's fulfilling his word in that. And that's really a amazing thing to see. I get chills.
Yeah. It's really awesome to see him just move so fast whenever we step out in faith and walk in obedience.
Yeah. So as far as like our future, I don't know what God has in store. I always say I'm just riding the tailcoat and God just tells me which direction to move. And I'm getting better at that, because I was telling these ladies, and I've shared this with Miss Deanna before, about I tell God something, well, I'm not going to do that, and it's like he puts his hand on his shoulder or on his hip, and he's like, you want to bet? Like, you're going to do this. And so I've learned throughout my walk with God that if I just don't argue, it's a lot easier if I just say, okay, I'm not ready for this, but I know that you're walking before me and that you're going to equip me for this while I walk through it, that it goes a lot
You don't
smoother.
end up in the belly of a whale. When you just listen the first time, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. And he didn't have snacks.
Exactly. No snacks in the whale.
Also here, we have it in our congregation hall, and it's on any platform, it's welcome. We have a vase for questions, and it can be any question. Now, if you're talking about like spaceships and aliens, that may not be something that we can answer for you, but if it's a biblical question and it's something that you legitimately you've been pondering, you're more than welcome to answer that. We've had some questions. One came out about, is the interpretation of tongues, or not speaking in tongues, is that something that is impossible? Is just one person not ever going to be able to speak in that? Or how do you know what your gifts are? Or the foundational truths of our church. That's something that we're going to start covering here soon, about what those beliefs are and what they mean. So totally excited.
Yes, very excited.
All right, we'll see you guys on 1820.